Good afternoon. Thank you all for showing up to our webinar, How to Build the Preeminent Law Firm in Your Market. Just want to make sure that we have all technical difficulties out of the way. So can everyone hear me? If you can't, please write something in the chat box. I'm excited about our show today. We have Ken Hardison, who's a great friend of mine, also a mentor. So I'll tell you a little bit more about him, and I'm excited to ask him questions about his book, who was going off the shelves at Lawyeronomics about a month ago when we were there. So please feel free to ask any questions. I think we want to make this as interactive as possible. I'll ask my questions, and then I'm sure Ken's going to leave some time for questions on his end. But in the meantime, if you can hear me, Ken, if you want to test, make sure they can hear you too, that'd be great.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Can you hear me? Nope.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hold on. Testing. There it is. Nope.
Yep.
Testing.
Yep, I can hear you. I think we're good.
Okay.
We're still waiting for a couple people to come
Okay,
through.
good.
Sounds great on there, and thank you so much for responding. So let me just make an introduction. If some of you do not know Ken Hardison practiced injury and disability law for over 32 years and built one of the largest personal injury law firms in the state of North Carolina. You can see more about him on www.lawyernc.com and what he did to help build his law firm. In addition, Ken also has a small Social Security firm called Carolina Disability Lawyers in Myrtle Beach. Ken attributes this success to his persistence and willingness to try new things, especially in marketing. I've been following Ken for years, and I know he's great at marketing his law firm, marketing PILMA. He does a great job with that. So Ken has proven his success with his firm, and in 2007, he decided to share his knowledge with other lawyers. This eventually led to the creation of PILMA, which is the Personal Injury Lawyers Marketing and Management Association that we might touch on a little further. But if you haven't registered yet, the conference is starting in mid-July in Fort Worth, Texas. So PILMA is the only legal marketing and management association exclusively for injury and disability lawyers. Ken is a native of Dunn, North Carolina, and he graduated cum laude from Campbell University in '79. And from Norman Adrian Wiggins School of Law in 1982. Ken was chosen as Glazer Kennedy's Insider Circle Diamond Coaching Contest winner for 2010. That's a big deal. I don't know if you follow Glazer Kennedy, but it's something you should definitely look into. Ken's cutting-edge submission focused on the promotion of PILMA's marketing and management summits. His breakthrough cost-free marketing technique promoting PILMA's fall 2010 summit at the Wynn in Las Vegas more than doubled the summit's attendance that year. And he is also author of the book we're going to be talking today about, which I'm super excited about, Under Promise and Over Deliver, and numerous articles and books on marketing and managing injury and disability practices. Where it doesn't stop there, you can go into different law practices. The marketing and management techniques that can help you with truly any business, but most importantly, any type of law firm. His most recent book on systematic marketing, how to grow your firm without losing your mind, is due out in July. So make sure we look out for that. I'm sure we'll have him on for an interview. And, you know, it's become Ken's mission to teach lawyers how to market, manage, and grow their practice. And that is exactly what he's going to do with PILMA and now recently released lawpracticeadvisor.com. Make sure you check it out. So Ken, man, I'm stoked to have you on. You and I have done a lot together within the past few years, so I'm excited to continue that growth. But I'm sure you know, the followers and our friends and clients that are on this webinar are super stoked to have you on and ask any questions that they might have. So you know, with that said, let's go ahead and get started and tell me a little bit about the book so they learn what they might find inside the book, and then I'll go into my questions. Well, I guess the leadoff question is, what made you write the book? What was the reason for writing this book?
Well, first off, I want to thank you, and those that will stay with us, I'm going to offer this book for free. I'm even going to pay the shipping and handling, so I want to stay it to the end. to get that information. There's no strings attached. It's given back. So why did I write this book? I've written several books, but people kept saying, there's got to be a secret sauce, or there got to be something. What really got you to just really build a large firm, a successful firm? And you always think about just about marketing, and that has got a large part of it, but it's so much more. And I kind of got down to it, and I said, you know what? I've always tried to underpromise and overdeliver to my clients, to my vendors, to my staff. So that's why I came up with the book, and also talking about Preeminent. I've had the pleasure. You talked about Glazer Kennedy. I've mentored. One of my mentors is Dan Kennedy, who is a marketing genius. Also, Jay Abraham, who, if you don't know, you should know. And he really preaches this preeminence doctrine, which is everything you do is for the betterment of your customers or your clients, whatever it might be, whoever's paying you the money, making the purchase, whatever. And so I thought about it, and I thought about marketing and how you could break it down in the whole client service, and just how you pick people to hire people, and how do you set goals and different things like that. So I just kind of lay it all out in this book. I mean, is it all there? No, but a big part of it is. And it's kind of interesting. I tell a lot of stories. People like stories. So I get some real life stories of things, really good things and some really bad things that I faced, some mistakes I made too. So yeah, that's why I did it.
Excellent. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the book before I jump in on all my questions about it?
No, I think it's a good read. It's about 160 pages. It's pretty easy reading. I've got it broken down into separate. I've actually analyzed marketing into 3 phases: before representation, during representation, and after representation. And we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, that's basically it.
So in the book, you talk about working on your business versus in your business. Can you break that down and explain that further?
Okay, it's 1996. I read a book called The E-Myth, an E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, and it pretty much, it had nothing, well, it did have something to do with marketing, but it really had more to do with management and systems, and it kind of changed my life. And it's all about, working on your business, which means working on your law firm, not just in your law firm. Because if you're working 80-hour weeks and, making really good money, but you got no life, that's, you're really just a glorified employee, but you're the last one that gets paid. What I found is that the more time I spent working on my business, creating the systems, working on the marketing, management, I spent less hours and I was making more money. Now, it's not for everybody. If that's all you want to do is just practice law, and then you probably either got to find somebody like that, or either you just need to go work for somebody. But if you got to own your own firm, unless you got a partner that can play that role, you probably ought to be working for somebody else, to be honest with you, because you're just going to always be, you're going to work 80 hours a week and you're going to be the last one to get paid, and that's no fun, So the key to it is to figure out how much your time is worth, and you can do that by figuring out how much you make a year and dividing that by, 40 hours, which should be what you're working. And then, unless it's something you just love to do, you need to figure out how to outsource it if you can get it done cheaper. If you're worth $150, $200 an hour, and you're over here doing making copies or doing something that's you could pay somebody $25, $50 an hour, why are you doing it? Unless you love to do it. Now, if it's something you have a passion for, there's still some things I do that I could hire people to do, but I really enjoy doing certain things. And so I do them. But unless you just get pure joy from it, you need to think that way.
Excellent. So you mentioned systems. Why are systems so important?
If you want to have any scalability or any growth, and not be held hostage by your employees. You need systems, processes, and procedures, tasks. Here's the deal. I always preach that there was nobody irreplaceable, and the reason that was is because I had processes and procedures for everything in the firm. So if somebody just walked out or got mad with me, or I got mad with them, or whatever, they won't do their job, I could fire them, which goes to another saying of mine, or way, I guess, philosophy is I like to hire real slow, but I like to fire real fast. And that's not the way I always was. The first 12, 14 years, I was just the opposite. I hired really knee-jerk. Well, I got to get somebody to fill this place. We got all this work to do. And then when it comes to firing somebody, I always say, oh, I can't afford to lose them. What am I going to do? It'll take so long to train somebody. They got so much intellectual property, so much knowledge. And that was just a terrible way to run a business. And so after reading that book, I pretty much just I got manuals on client service. I got manuals on how to handle a case from start to finish. I got processes on how to do intakes all the way to opening files, closing files. We've got checklists. We use case management systems that has individual tasks, and we run reports. And you can, now you've even got access to, you can have, screens on your computer on your desktop where you can manage by that. So, and you still have to put the human touch in it. I mean, now I like to manage by walking around, talking to people, seeing what they're doing, but I can tell whether something's not running right by the reports. And then, using benchmarks. Like, I know that when a person gets released from an accident, that I want a demand sent out in 30 days. So I got a report on that. And if it's not, then I want to know why. And if I got one person that just constantly is always 10, 20, 30, 40 days behind, and I got this other person here that's getting them out 28 days, then I know I got a problem. It's not the process, it's the person. I didn't train them right, or they just don't have the ability, and they got to go back to training, or we got to find them what I call a new seat on the bus. So it's so important, because you don't want to be held hostage by someone, and that person, anything can happen to that person. Their spouse could be moved because of another job, they could die, they could get sick. And that's, and then you got key personnel, and I always tell people with key personnel, like your office manager or your partner, you should have a contingency plan if something happens to them. You should already have it worked out in your head what you're going to do, so that you're not making quick knee-jerk reactions.
Right.
So, but that's why I think systems are so important, because it's going to make you more efficient. You're not beholden to your employees and your staff. And I just think it makes it's easier to manage when you got systems and benchmarks and everything. It's just so much easier to measure and be more efficient.
Exactly. I agree. What's a USP?
Unique selling proposition. And basically what that is what differentiates you from all the other lawyers or other businesses in your market. Because unknowns to most lawyers, people really don't care about you. They want to know what's in it for them. And what you got to do is get into the people's mind and figure out, answer these two questions. Why do I need a lawyer? But better yet, why should I choose your firm over all these other guys I see on TV, Yellow Pages, Facebook ads? Why you? What makes you stand out? What makes you unique that I should raise my hand and even check into using you? And it's hard. And in this book, I actually go through and lawyers say, but that's hard. We all do the same thing. Well, we all do the same thing, but we might do it a little bit different or add bonuses. And it can be things. It can be a thing too. Like with our firms, we always offer books. We have. I don't know if I have it around with me. I don't think I do. But so we give away a book, how to the ultimate guide to winning your Social Security disability case. So it kind of stands us out. There's nobody else in this market that's got a book. Other thing I've done is like offer a 30-day client service satisfaction guarantee. It doesn't mean I guarantee we're going to win the case. It means that if they don't like us or don't like the way we're handling their case, they can fire us and get their file the first 30 days, no attorney fees, no cost. That's easier to do with contingency firms, I would agree. But I think there's other ways you could do it and do the same thing, because that's what we call a risk reversal. Because people, when you know, it's like picking out a doctor or a dentist or something that for a very important thing in your life. If you've never used that person before, you're trying to figure out, is this the right fit? You know, I'm going to go pay him a lot of money and not be able to get out of it. I got to sign a contract, which in reality, anybody can get out of a lawyer's contract. It's not enforceable. We can get quantum merit, but that's it. And good luck with that. I've done that over the years, and it's a pain in the butt. So, you know, it kind of takes what it happens is you'll get a lot of defense centers that were thinking about hiring you but weren't quite sure, you know, make them go say, what have I got to lose? And I do it for PILMA. Every event we do, any memberships, you know, I offer them a money-back guarantee because I want them to have value. I practice the preeminence doctrine. Every other thing's for the betterment of my clients or the betterment of my members. And if I'm not giving 10 times the value of what I'm charging, then you probably shouldn't. I shouldn't be able to charge you. And that's a different way of thinking, but I think that is a key to my success is I do over-deliver. And I just think it's the way to do business. It's worked for me all these years, and that's why I think it's important. And I know I've kind of digressed off the USP, but in the book I actually tell you, it's got some exercises you can go through to actually create your own USP, because most lawyers don't. They say the same thing as everybody else. Free consultation, we care, we're tough, all that kind of stuff. And people hear it over and over and say, they all sound the same. So you got to pop out with something that differentiates you. You know, like remember Domino's Pizza before they become just Domino's now. Their big deal, how they got to the top of the ladder, wasn't because they had the best tasting pizza. You know, Papa John's has gone with that. Natural ingredients. That's their USP. But Domino's was fresh, piping hot pizza in 30 minutes or less. Of course, they had to quit that too because of us lawyers. We sued a lot of people for wrecks. But before we started suing them, that set them aside from everybody else in the market. You know, that was their USP. That's what made them unique out of all the 10 million. You know, there's pizza joints on every corner. It don't take much. I mean, what does it cost? You've got to go buy an oven and then some ingredients. You fix a pizza for about $2 and you sell it for 10. I mean, it's a great margin business, and there's a lot of competition. I mean, you think there's a lot of lawyers out there? Try to get in the pizza business. It's you know, it's tough business. So they come up with something that was to set them apart. And Papa John's guy used to work for them, and he knew that was important. So he came out with the natural, best tasting ingredients, you know. And that's why it's so important to have a USP in any business, whatever it might be.
Awesome. And so touching on marketing giants and like Domino's and Papa John's, in the book and earlier in the call, you talked about the 3 phases of marketing. Could you explain those phases a little further?
Yeah, so, you know, I got to thinking about it. I mean, if I was going to break down, because start talking about a law firm, marketing, or any business, there's so many tactics, so many different things you could do. I mean, you know, I think at the old law firm, I think they were doing 42 different things to market the practice. Down here, I'm probably doing 21 things. So how do you keep them all, you know, categorized, systematized? And so I kind of broke it down into, you know, before representation. This is all the stuff you do before representation, like TV, Yellow Pages, Facebook, SEO, blogs, getting people's attention to where, you know, people needing lawyers and get them to raise their hand. So that's what 100%, 99% of, well, all the lawyers that market, that's what they do. If they market at all, they all work on that phase. But then the next phase is once you get them into your office, and this is where about I'd say 50% of the lawyers forget about it. They get them in, and then they kind of, they do the job, but they're still not really marketing to these people and building what I call a relationship. And I call that a lot of relationship marketing and doing the preeminence doctrine, where everything I do, like making sure at our firm, we always made sure that a client got contacted either, every 45 days. And we had systems for that, and we got a checklist, and it marked off. And we made that part of the deal for your quarterly bonuses. If you didn't have a 90% contact rate, you didn't get your bonus, no matter how much money your division or your lawyer produced. If it's him and his staff didn't have 90%, 95%, I can't remember, contact rate of contacting your present clients on every 45 days, then they didn't get their bonus. And we do spot checks to make sure that they won't fudge and just say they did and they didn't. Other things you can be doing is it's just giving really good, and I talk about in the book how to create client loyalty, because the cheapest marketing is if you can become their trusted legal advisor, then my gosh, you don't have to spend any more money trying to get this person to come back to you or to refer you somebody. Some lawyers say, see people call them about other things. I don't do this, don't bother me. But I think that's the wrong way to go. And I think the deal is you want them to call you because, number one, what if it's a multi-million-dollar case and they say, well, I don't think you do this kind of stuff, so I'm going to go call this other guy. There's a referral fee you missed, And the deal is, if you're considered their trusted legal advisor, if I got a legal problem, I take the call because they trust me, and they know if I can't help them, I'm going to send them to somebody that can. And then by doing this, I create these relationships with these lawyers I'm sending cases to, and having systems built in where they'll call them and let them know I sent the person, or sending them a card or email confirming I did it. They get to know that I'm helping them. And then they're going to, in turn, not all of them, but 50% of them are going to send me cases of stuff that I do. So, all that whole deal while you're representing the person and after you're representing them is very, very important. And then, and treating them, I stole this from Jeffrey Gitomer. I call it the grandma test. Whereas my staff, I tell them when they talk to somebody on the phone, a client or whoever, put grandma at the end of the word, of the sentence. And if you wouldn't talk to your grandma like that, then don't talk to my clients like that. I also believe that the way you treat your staff is the way your staff's going to treat your clients. So I try to treat my staff with, I try to put grandma at the end of that. I'm nice to them. I got rules and I'm stern, but I still try to treat them as professionals and manage them. And I just wrote an article with agreements, not try to manage the person. You agree that this is your job and you got to have, these are the deadlines and you got to have it done. Can we agree that you're going to do that? Yes. And then when they don't, then they've broken the agreement. So we got to fix it. They've got to, we've got to figure out a way to fix it, or they got to go. So the last phase is after representation. This is where like 90% of lawyers just lose it. They forget all about it. So this is where you use newsletters, create client advisory boards, have past client appreciation days, still keep sending birthday cards, all this stuff because, and I talk about it in my book. I came down here to Myrtle Beach 5 years ago. I sold my firm out and started this other firm about 2 years ago. But when I got down here, I had plumbing problems. I called this plumber, went online, didn't know anybody, went online, liked his ad, liked the reviews, came and did a great job and did give me a fair price. And I thanked him, and he gave me his business card. 6 months later, I'm having another problem. The hot water heater goes out. I can't for the God of me remember that guy's name. I remember what he looked like. I remember the color of his truck, but I do not remember the name of the company. And I tried to went online. I just couldn't remember. So I got this other company. They come out. They do a great job. They give me a reasonable price. But this guy does something different. He leaves me a little magnet. He throws it on the hot water heater. He says, if you ever need any trouble, call me 24/7. This is my number. And then about 2 months later, I got a newsletter from him and about his business and things, his employees, things that were going on in his life. And I get one about every 3 months, 3 or 4 months. So about a year later, I'm having septic tank problems. And I call him. But I guess what I do, I remember his name, and I say, I can't find the newsletter, but I know he's got the magnet in here. I go in there, I get it, bam. So that guy, both of them were really good plumbers. Both of them did a great job, and both of them charged me reasonable prices. But the marketer, the guy that marketed to me after he finished my job, is the guy that got my repeat business. And I know it's a plumber, but it's no different for a lawyer or any other type of business. And so it makes sense. It makes sense that that you market to the people after the firm. I mean, after they leave the firm.
Yeah, that makes complete sense, and it's definitely great advice on the 3 marketing tips. You touched a little bit on doctrine of preeminence.
I'm on webcam. I'm sorry.
You had touched a little bit on the doctrine of preeminence. Why is that so important?
Because, I mean, that's what really is going to get you the business. If you become their trusted legal advisor, then that's what's going to get you the business forever. It's like I said before, and I won't belabor it, but I mean, that's the example. You want them, if they got a legal problem, to call you.
In your book, you talk about the 10 tips of creating client loyalty. And it seems like you touched on that a little bit with some of your marketing tactics. Are there any specifics on those 10 tips that you might want to share?
I mean, they got the grandma test. It's the golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. You know, and I don't want to go into. I'm going to give away the book at the end of this deal so they can just read it. I mean, you know, but it's stuff that's kind of tried and proven. And I don't want to belabor the point since we're running out of time.
Okay, so we'll move on. You talk in the book, and you and I have known each other for years, and I know this is tried and true. You talk about surrounding yourself with the right people to achieve success. Can you elaborate? I mean, obviously one of those is Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham. Any others you want to share, or what you've gotten out of it?
Yeah. I mean, and really what I mean by that is, like, everybody's got strengths and everybody's got weaknesses. Like, I'm a really great idea guy. I'm really not a great implementer. I'm a great leader. I'm a so-so manager. When it comes to technology, I'm terrible. So what I try to do is, instead of trying to make those weaknesses grow better, I try to leverage my strengths. So I have a lot to do with trying new ideas, and I get other people to implement them. When it comes to technology, I get an idea, but I don't know how to get it done. So I go get somebody that's a lot smarter than I am, and I don't let my ego get in the way. So I try to get people that are smarter than me in certain areas that I'm probably weak in, and pay them, and then empower them and let them take it to the next level for me. Of course, when me managing it, So that's the idea. It's not let your ego get in the way.
Excellent. Yeah. So we have a good handful of attorneys on staff, and I know Levan talks about this all the time. I think it's important to learn about hiring the right people. What's a tip you could give us? And it's probably in the book, and we're running out of time. So what's a quick tip you could give us on hiring the right people for your law firm?
Test them. And what I mean, you got different tests out there, but test them. And then no matter what they tell you, test them. Don't go by the interview alone, because some people are professional interviewers and they can tell you what you want to hear. They go research you, and then they know what your philosophy is, your values. And then they want to mirror that and suck up to you and they, oh man, I love this person. I've been fooled before. So now I use these tests. I use Jay Henderson from Real Talent Hiring. There's another guy there named John Bean. Both of them are very good. And I would say when you get it down to 2 or 3 people and you can't make up your mind, do the test. That would be my number one deal.
Is that Jay Henderson's test?
Yes, I've been using it for about 12 years now.
I've taken that test myself.
Oh yeah, I have too.
Great. Yeah, it's a great test. Yeah, we do a lot of testing for our staff and writers as well, which allows us to build the systems we have. So, before we go, 3 tips. What are the 3 most cost-effective marketing tactics that you presently use in your Social Security law firm or used in your last law firm that they could take away with? And then I'll tell everyone how to get a copy of the book and how to reach out to Ken.
Okay. Number 1 would be newsletters. Number 2 would be the books, because we put them out in doctors' offices. We've got an infomercial now that we've been using. It is just killing it. I did one infomercial, cost me $200. I got like 130 requests for the book, and then I got a whole sequence where I'm drip campaigning them, and I'm getting cases with not a lot of money, and then the website, doing SEO and things like that. So that's like the top 3.
Great. Well, Ken, tell us, if you can see it on your screen, it looks like you can go to www.underpromisebook.com to get a copy of the book. If you want to reach out to Ken personally, Ken, how can they reach you?
They can do it, Ken at pilma.org, and that's KEN at PILMMA.org.
And then I'm going to be sending a copy of the webinar and the link in an email in a couple days, so you'll be able to get that. So the information will be on there, but make sure you download the book. It's awesome. Ken, thank you again for attending and presenting on the We Do Web Content webinar series. We look forward to having you again. Again, if you haven't registered or checked out PILMA for the Fort Worth Summit coming up in July 15th through the 17th, or 15th through the 18th?
16th through the 18th.
16th through the 18th. Check it out now. Also, make sure you check out a new project Ken is working on called lawpracticeadvisor.com, which is awesome resource for all types of law firms with marketing and management solutions. It's probably the lowest cost, most effective program you could get on board now. Make sure you check it out. There are going to be monthly modules of Ken doing marketing work, and Ken Levan doing management work. So that's www.lawpracticeadvisor.com, and again, www.pilma.org. Make sure you check those 2 out. Again, thank you all for attending. Have a great week. Let me know if you have any questions. I don't see any questions come up now. We'll give you another minute or so. If not, we'll go ahead and end the call. And if you have any questions by email, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ken. Have a great day, sir.
All right, take care.